All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a special welcome to the students who have come out tonight to have an opportunity to meet some heads of department and faculty and ask some questions about course selection. My name is Denise Lamarche. I am the Director of Academics here at the school, and I am thrilled to be able to be here today with my colleagues to give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you might be thinking about as you are considering course selection for your son or daughter. All the materials this evening, including this presentation, will be available on our website. There were handouts at the tables for specific grade levels. So if you picked up all the colors, you may not need each grade level, and there might be some people who are looking for a particular grade just to see that sheet. But again, all these materials are on the website, on the course handbook, which that link will be live tonight. I just want to speak to the website this evening, just so you know, in case you run home and really eager to get on the website. Our website is actually going to be down. I was informed from 7:30 till probably the wee hours of the morning for some servicing. So don't panic if you go home tonight and cannot access the website. It just happens to be one of those things that are beyond our control. But all the information is there, so don't feel like you're missing anything if you didn't receive documentation on the tables. So just to do a few housekeeping pieces before we get into the information. Our agenda this evening is that you are going to have an opportunity to put some names to faces and have some conversations with people you might have heard about, to consider course selection for your son or daughter, to hear some words. If you're a grade 9 parents, you're going to have a chance to spend some time with Becky Anderson tonight and hear about our grade 10 program next year. And also, the academic advisors, who also share the role of university counselor, are here to answer any questions that you might be thinking about when you're starting to think ahead about post-secondary. You're also going to hear a little bit about things to keep in mind when you're thinking about course selection, some post-secondary program options, as well as just things to keep in mind when you think about your interests. Sometimes parents have questions at grade 9 or 10 level around that, so tonight's an opportunity to ask some of those general questions. So just to do a little bit of introduction this evening, Jake Humphreys and Kate Knight are here. They're two of our university counselors, also academic advisors. Becky Anderson is our Director of Leadership. Rich Primrose is over here. He is our grade 9 advisor. So for any of grade 8 parents who have questions about the grade 9 year and what to expect, Rich Primrose is who you'll speak to this evening for those questions. And in addition, we will be having a spring evening session for our current grade 8 parents and students for some information and kind of what to expect in September. Timio Calistro is another one of our academic advisors and university counselors who unfortunately is not able to be here this evening. And then also our heads of department are all here, and you'll have a chance. I'm not going to introduce them individually, but you will have a chance to circulate and meet them. And of course, Andy Rodford, the Director of Senior School, is here with us this evening as well. So just to give you a little bit of an overview of the course selection timeline, because it is really important to keep an eye on those dates. Our SDS, the Student Data System, will open for course selections for students to see the course selection sheet on Friday, January 30th. So it gives you a couple of breather days to look at the course handbook, which is something we do really encourage our students and parents to do together, and before you actually get online and start selecting those courses. The information is directly through SDS through the parent portal, so it's easy to find. The course handbook, of course, like I mentioned, is there, and I really do encourage, particularly the students in the audience, for some time to spend through looking at your grade level courses, some of the pieces that you might be curious about. Spend some time to look through that documentation, particularly before you make your choices. Course selection will close on Sunday, March 8th. And so this is the time period where you are able to ask questions and start considering what will be the best program lined up for you next year. And of course, in that time is meeting with academic advisors, talking to heads of department, and then also talking to faculty, because you might know that they teach a particular course and you're curious about, how much homework, for example, or how much workload might be attached to a particular course, or what might the assignments look like, or what are the themes look like in that course. And so this is the time to ask some particular questions. All right, so at this time, I'm going to invite Kate Knight up here, and she's going to speak a little bit about the role of the academic advisor. So Kate.
So the role of the academic advisor and eventually university counselor is multifaceted. We are here to support not just students but parents as they navigate information that, particularly if you don't work or live in the world of education, may seem sometimes like a bit of a foreign language. Our job is to ensure that Ministry of Education requirements are met as students work through their course selection and their academic program, and also SMUS requirements, so any particular courses that are unique to our school community and environment here. We also want to ensure that as students are planning for the future, if that includes college, university, any other types of programs they might be interested in, that we are working with those students to make sure that they have the prerequisites needed for programs that they might be interested in. And we're going to talk a little bit later about some common prerequisites for common programs that students are interested in. We want to make sure that students are selecting a balanced course load. There are more courses available than any one person can take, and with so many options available, we want them to be well informed, but we want them to not only be ready for the programs they think they might be interested in, but also maybe try some courses that they may not have a chance to take again once they're out of high school. So ensuring that whether that's physical and active healthy living courses, languages, arts, humanities, sciences, technological courses, really trying to create a nice balance. Because if there's anything that 21st century learners need, it's to have a well-rounded portfolio. And then finally, it's to provide ongoing support. So whether that's a student with a question, a parent with a question, if that's a parent that lives here in Victoria or on the other side of the world, the academic advisors and university counselors, we're here to essentially answer questions and help you navigate that process so that you feel like you are making informed decisions. And especially as parents, you can feel that you're part of that process and that you're learning as your students are learning throughout that journey. Ms. LaMarche already introduced Richard Primrose, who works with our grade 9 students, so not just students who are in grade 9 this year, but as she mentioned, for those grade 8 families, he's an excellent contact to start speaking with now about what those course selections might look like for next year. And I'm going to keep talking. Fortunately, we have a few new courses that students are going to be able to select for next year. I won't go into them in too much detail, but just to be aware of some of those changes. One of them is a computer science course at the grade 11 level. We're going to be having an opportunity for those families that are here and students who are in grade 9 at 7:30 to have a little bit more of an in-depth discussion with Becky Anderson, our Director of Leadership, about what our grade 10 program is going to look like next year. There's going to be a really dynamic new emphasis in grade 10 across all subjects and all areas on experiential learning, and there's some exciting new information there that Becky will be able to share with you at 7:30 in the lecture theater. We also have the AP Capstone program, which I'll just tell you a little bit about. It's a new program that was initiated by the College Board in the United States, and SMUS was asked to be one of 9 Canadian schools to pilot the AP seminar course this year at the school, and 18 students are enrolled in that course right now. In September 2015, so this coming September, those students will be able to move on into the AP research portion of the Capstone program, where they will actually work on one idea, one theme, one question that they want to research throughout the year and present a research paper at the end of the year to a panel. With the AP Capstone program, students who take AP Seminar and AP Research, plus 4 other AP courses, have the opportunity to earn an AP Capstone diploma, which is, not only well prepares them for university, but is looked very favorably upon by schools around the world. And for students who may not want to take 4 AP courses, but do want to take the seminar and research courses and maybe a couple of AP courses, they're able to earn the AP Capstone certificate. And Denise is going to speak a little bit more about sort of how the AP Capstone program works, but this type of a program and these courses are really of interest to students who want to develop skills in research, critical thinking, analysis, presentation, communication, all of those types of, again, 21st century skills that really go across no matter what subject you're interested in. And they have some really interesting themes that the students get to personalize to select. So I'll let her speak a little bit more about that.
So just to give you the visual of what Ms. Knight was talking about, if a student's, when they're considering AP courses, they can make a choice to follow the pathway for Capstone and select AP Seminar, AP Research, and 4 APs for that Capstone diploma, or they can simply take the AP Seminar and AP Research. And if that's all they want to do, they still receive the AP Capstone certificate. So there are different options for students, and the College Board made this move essentially to stop, I think, the treadmill of loading up on AP courses. You know, for years you would hear about students taking 7 and 8 and 9 AP courses and moving to a program that really didn't allow them to focus on an area of interest and passion that they were particularly keen on researching. And so this was a great initiative by the College Board to really help students focus on what it is that they are interested when they get involved in the AP research section. There is a lot of collaboration and critical thinking around looking at an issue that they might go deeper on, and they do have to present at the end of all of it a 5,000-word research paper to a panel and talk about the research that they have done. So the Capstone Pathway is really setting students up for that college level or university level research, interaction, and in-depth inquiry about a particular issue or topic that they want to make greater connection with, and to prepare them for the skills that are going to be required in post-secondary education. And so the Capstone Pathway is something that will be very appealing to students, particularly those who might be in grade 9, thinking about what might my program look like as I move through my grade 10 through 12 years. And moving away from, I need to take all these AP courses. No, we need to craft a program that matches your interest, your passion, and the level that you want to really contribute into your learning. It's not to say that critical thinking does not happen in any other course other than AP Seminar and AP Research. That's not it at all. It's just the skill development, particularly to research, for the university level work is what the focus is, as well as the collaborative research, which is something that is really important. I just wanted to share with you a few comments from students who are in our AP Seminar course, because we do have 18 students in that seminar group who are in this year working with Brad Edgington, and they will move into their AP research in grade 12. Here's a quote: "You become a better thinker, a more objective and critical thinker with this type of course. I'm critically analyzing what other people are saying, and I'm more respectful of other people's opinions." We get a topic and we dive deep into it, looking at not just the facts, but of all different interdisciplinary perspectives, which ones are strongest, which ones might be missing. It teaches us to learn and to think, and prepares us for the university level research that we're going to be entering. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight to the Capstone Pathway. We do have a video on SMUTube just explaining a little bit more, as well on the College Board's website. There's some further in-depth information. And of course, if you have any questions about the Capstone Pathway, please don't hesitate to ask. And so now, I believe I'm calling up Mr. Humphreys, who's going to speak a little bit more about some of the particular pathways for students.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming out, and thanks, students, for coming out. It's good to see so many faces here from our classrooms. To carry on a little bit with the AP theme, it's important for parents to realize, and students have already heard about this, but they need it reinforced as well, that most Canadian universities will accept the AP courses as academic courses for admission. So everybody's used to the fact that you could offer up History 12 or Math 12, but you can also offer up all the AP courses that we give for qualification as an academic admission course. And then the university, as long as you get a 4 or 5 in the exam, may give you actual credit for that. And this helps students move through their programs more quickly at universities if they wish to. The universities won't give you a mark, but they will give you that credit, as long as your exam score is high enough. So that's something to remember about AP. It has its intrinsic value as an enriched learning experience, and that's the primary reason for taking AP. There are also some mercenary gains to be made. A second language at the grade 11 or 12 level is required for all applicants to UBC and SFU. The proviso at SFU is that they would accept a beginner's language, but we don't teach beginner's languages, so for our students going to SFU, it needs to be a full language 11 or 12. We emphasize this to our students all the time, that they have to research universities carefully. That rule of language used to go into other universities as well, and they changed those things and they try to let us know, but we as counselors don't know absolutely everything at all times, right up to the minute. So we encourage the students right from the time they're in grade 9 and they start to do some university research to be very careful and to try to understand that they own this process of university application and research, that it's their process, that their advisors are there to give good advice and to help them with logistics and help them wade through the difficulties and esoteric of the application system, but they must own those processes themselves and look to us for support. So we receive a lot of questions from students, and we encourage them at all times to ask us questions, but we also encourage them to become self-reliant as soon as they can. After all, our present grade 12s, what it will be 6 or 8 months from now, there will be no Mr. Humphreys there. There will be no Miss Knight or anybody else from this school to actually work with them as they get to those campuses. So you need to develop the sense of self-reliance that comes with beginning that process in grade 11 and 12 of asking questions and actually phoning the universities and saying, I got this letter from you, I don't quite understand what it means, can you clarify for me? I made the point today to a group of grade 12s that there are people in admission offices waiting for phone calls. That's what they're paid to do. And so I encourage them to put those folks to work. Carrying on a little bit with more about program requirements, students often ask which math stream they should be going into if they're considering engineering or science or business. And the answer is a fairly stock answer. For any of those 3 streams in the post-secondary system, they should be in the pre-calculus math. Now, everybody can go out right now if they try hard enough and find an exception to that in the business area, but the general idea for business is that pre-calculus math is the one that's required, and it's the one that will help you get along in your business program and feel a greater level of success. And it's just an absolute necessity for both science and engineering. Once again, that's one of those research things. Students need to go out and confirm those things for themselves on the websites, talk directly to the university admissions officers that come here to the school. We have about 100 every year who come right to St. Michael's to recruit our students, and there's nothing better than to stand there with that admissions recruiter and say, I have a question, I want to know about this. And the math stream is certainly one thing they expect to hear about it. The Foundations of Math stream is a great option for students who want to go towards humanities, social sciences, fine arts, perhaps nursing. But nursing is one you have to research very carefully because some schools are different than others. So that's another one where it takes a few clicks on the website to get down to the detail you need. Science programs, in most cases in our Canadian system, this would be relatively the same in the US and certainly the same in the UK. They're looking for 2 grade 12 sciences. If you're going into engineering, that has to be physics and chemistry. But for other science programs, it can be any of the sciences that we offer. Engineering is the program with the highest and most onerous set of requirements and demands in the university system. They want the physics, they want the chemistry, they want the calculus, at least calculus 12, but most students who go through an engineering program will tell you, get the higher calculus if you can, get the AP calculus. So, of course, you also need a strong English mark. So that becomes fairly demanding. Of course, engineering is one of those fields that is blossoming in terms of opportunity. So it may be demanding and it might be hard work, but there are lots of great benefits when you're done. Some programs, of course, require portfolios or auditions. All the music programs will require students to demonstrate that they're operating already in the music world at a fairly high level. All art, design, and architecture programs, with very few exceptions, will require a portfolio, and the student is well advised. Of course, it's going to be absolutely necessary to speak to his or her art teacher in case of the art portfolio, and his or her music teachers in terms of how to prepare a music audition. Those things need to begin as well, much earlier than grade 12. You really cannot start preparing your audition materials in grade 12, or your portfolio in grade 12 has to happen before that, at least in grade 11. So, Ms. Knight and I and Mr. Calistro normally, and Ms. McCallum, if she were here, we go through with grade 10s in the planning classes, and we reiterate this to grade 11s, the need in course planning for asking questions. And we send them very often to the folks who know the deeper detail than we do about given courses, and that's these folks sitting here. So question asking is very, very important, not just when you're in grade 10 going into grade 11 or 11 into 12, but as soon as you're at a university campus, you've got to be asking questions constantly and investigating the detail of what's happening in your courses. So we hope that they get started on that now and here. The discussion of interests and requirements is great fodder for Sunday night supper at your house, and I also encourage your sons and daughters, that's you folks, to speak to Uncle Jimmy or Auntie Marge or the friends in the neighborhood or even the neighbors. Try to get a number of sort of inputs relating to what might be possible. And of course, here's a little plug. Tomorrow our students are going to have their career day, their annual career day, and they're going to hear from a lot of people who do various things in life and will hopefully inspire them regarding their passions and the strengths that they might have. The program at the school is designed to encompass the whole student. As you're aware, we have a wonderful arts program, we have a wonderful athletics program, we have wonderful service and leadership and outdoor leadership and so on, and a beautiful academic program. It's a full banquet, and we want your students to be able to take part in all bits of it. But of course, it does require the maintenance of balance. It's easy when you've got such a delicious banquet to start eating a bit too much sometimes, and maybe some of the richer food. So it's necessary for there to be a communicative matrix between parent, student, and school regarding what's reasonable in terms of just how much could I actually do and what should it be like. And so we're ready for those conversations at any time. And in fact, Ms. Knight and I and the other academic advisors see parents all the time in our offices, and we welcome you with open arms. Please come. I think Denise is going to close this part of things now, and we will be around when you're ready for us.
The best people to hear about course selection process are students. And when we asked students, a few students who would be interested in speaking and sharing their experience with you, they agreed to be filmed and not actually speaking here. So we're just going to play, it's really short, and then we're going to close and you get to circulate. But just from their perspective.
My top tip for picking courses this year is don't shy away from the APs. They're a fantastic opportunity, and I cannot recommend them more. What I would suggest is that you talk to the teacher who will be running the AP beforehand, just to get a feel of what the course is going to be like and how much time it will take, because APs are a huge commitment, something I am discovering this year as, like Nick, I overzealously signed up for quite a couple. And while I have no regrets about the courses, I am having to budget my time a lot, and I'm having to work harder to try to keep up with all my courses. So something else I would recommend is if you have a bit of extra time in your timetable and you're willing to take on another AP course, it's always fun and it always pays to take a course that interests you, maybe isn't necessarily more a traditional course like psychology or comparative government, something that you would find interesting and exciting and fun, because it is about what you're interested in and not necessarily just the courses that you're supposed to take.
A lot of you are probably looking into whether or not you're going to take that advanced, that AP course next year. My advice for you is, when you're signing up for it, talk about it with your teacher and talk about it with your academic advisor. They're there to help you. And if you're still on the fence about it, sign up for the advanced course. You can always drop down. It is way easier to drop down than it is to step up if you feel like you're not challenging yourself enough by being in the regular course. One of the mistakes that I've made when doing my course selection is overzealously signing up for too many courses. It's really important to make sure that, especially if you're taking a lot of advanced courses, to balance your time so that you have some time off during the school day, so you're not sitting in class all day.
Now my one top tip is don't close any doors. You're in high school, it's the time to experiment and take lots of courses. Even though I'm very into humanities, I still tried to make room for science and math courses in my timetable because I felt it helped me grow as a person and I wasn't precluding myself from any university requirements. That being said, don't push yourself beyond what you know are your limits. For example, I'm not the best at math, so a safe choice for me, while still keeping my options open, would have been to take Foundations 11. But I took Pre-Calculus 11, and it was huge trouble for me. I had lots of homework, and I struggled greatly, when I would have been more suited to learn the practical skills in Foundations 11. So make sure to challenge yourself and keep your options open, but know thyself, and make sure you pick courses that will make you happy and keep you learning.
Just to close, we do have some students, will also say, and they just didn't make the video cut, but they will also say that it's really important for you to have balance in your course load, that you need to seek fine arts options, you need to seek healthy living, active life options, and really have that well-balanced approach to your education. Which is an exciting reason I think the pathways for the Capstone Pathways were also created. And so this evening, now you can have the time to circulate through, to meet some people and have some conversations. Also, I just wanted to also let you know that Dawn Wilson is here from Education Extension. If you have any questions this evening about our exchange programs or our summer holiday programs, Dawn Wilson is the person that you want to speak to this evening. There also is a document of frequently asked questions, and many of you have picked up that handout. It will be online, but for every department, there are a series of questions that come up repeatedly. That do have a quick answer to them. So take a look through that document, perhaps before you speak to the head of department, just to see if that question happens to be there. And then you can talk about other things. And also, we do have an upcoming university evening. If you want to hear more, that's in April. If you want to hear more about the university admissions landscape, some more information about programs, you will receive information about that evening in April. So if you have some burning questions that don't get addressed tonight, the opportunity will be there as well. And of course, you can make an appointment with your son or daughter's academic advisor at any time. So thank you for listening. I know you've been sitting for a long time, but now you get to move around. And don't forget, 7:30 for those grade 9 parents who want to hear more about the grade 10 program. That's in the lecture theater with Becky. All right, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the evening.